Have you ever been part of a team where you hear things like, we can't change XYZ because it is vital, or we can't do this because it might impact XYZ? This is at minimum like Stockholm Syndrome in a way, in that the development team becomes both subservient to and protective of the application. This is frequently based upon a fear of change, or more specifically, a fear of breaking change, but it goes too far. Now, that's not to mean that sometimes there aren't legit concerns, but way too often they fall into the categories of, this is how we do things around here, or we are so scared of this thing that we need diapers. I'm no doctor, but this sure sounds like Stockholm Syndrome, at least in a way. When we hear development staff say things like, we can't change this data element because it will impact XYZ, or we have to do it this way because of XYZ system. XYZ system is absolutely the captor here. The person or persons saying we have to are the captives. These are emotional responses, perhaps disguised, at least, as rational ones, but that doesn't make them any less emotional. These don't fall in the category of rousing, inspiring leadership speeches that rally the troops and make them do the impossible. They are typically the ravings of a delusional lunatic suffering from Stockholm Syndrome.
No matter how emphatically you believe or say a thing, it don't make it true. As an example, come hell or high water, we will absolutely learn to turn lead into gold. Some things just ain't gonna happen, Chief.
Saying all these things, it is sometimes still the right call to support the current paradigm. This is where the principle of least change versus doing it right conflict. You need a rational decision for choosing a course of action. It can't just always be because that's how it works right now. In fairness, with legacy apps, which is where I believe that you will encounter Stockholm Syndrome most often, you just literally cannot choose to rip out rot and do it right because we have time and resource constraints. Apparently, Stockholm Syndrome is a contested illness. Listen, I'm not a doctor, and some will say that Stockholm Syndrome isn't a real thing. But in the organizations I've been in that have been overly protective of their systems, it sure seems like a real deal to me.
Maybe I'm biased, but yeah, that sure looks like a real thing to me. Once again, I ain't a doctor.
Listen, you're going to need to read up on this. I can't provide you a professional medical opinion on these things, but the behavior I've seen in the various organizations that I've been in throughout the years sure seems a lot like Stockholm Syndrome to me. I don't know. I'm just making observations here. You can read up on it yourself and look for it out in the field.